Hi, everyone, and welcome to the REFSIX Weekly. I'm joined by two members of the REFSIX team. I've got my normal co-host, John, and joining us from Denmark, our latest and newest employee, Rimon. Thanks for joining. What we are going to talk about today is a couple of the incidents from the Champions League games. We're focusing on the two games involving English teams, the Man City Dortmund game and the Real Madrid Liverpool game. But first, in terms of refereeing news, this week's been a pretty big week for milestones. So on Monday, the EFL in League Two, Rebecca Welch became the first female referee to get appointed to an EFL game ever. There had been female referees who'd been on games in the past, but they'd been fourth officials and come on. But Rebecca was actually appointed to the game, and she took charge of Harrogate against Port Vale. I actually watched the whole game, and she was flawless. She was, the commentators were obviously talking about her because of the fact that she was doing the game. But if hopefully one day it becomes normal, and she would have just, there was no reason to even talk about her in that game. It was just effortless. So great to see that happen, and hopefully more females will be given opportunities at the level above where they are today. And who knows, we may see her more EFL games this season, maybe even next season if she gets promoted. So, Rimon, what about female refereeing in Denmark? Are there many female referees in the higher levels in Denmark?
Not that many female referees in the top league, but we definitely want more female referees in top leagues. I think we should have and try to get more female referees. And I think in Denmark we're trying to get more female referees. The thing about refereeing, you have to have a strong body language. You have to be very good at selling your decisions. And yeah, I think we need to find more and more females refereeing in Denmark, which are female referees. So yeah, we have some, but if we're talking about men's league, we have only in the second division. Could be awesome to get a female referee in the first division and further on to what we call a Superliga. So yeah.
But that's great because the second division, just to give you context, though. Rebecca was the first referee in the EFL, but that was actually our fourth division. So the fact that there's female referees in the second division is great. So not long, I'm sure, till you'll see a female referee in the Superliga, which is great. The other kind of milestone that we're ahead of, I guess, is this weekend will be the first time that Asian brothers have been appointed to the same EFL game, and that's in the Championship. It's Bristol City against Nottingham Forest. And it's Sonny and Bhupinder Gill, who are the sons of former EFL referee Jarnell Singh, who hasn't refereed at that level since, I think, early 2000s, 2010. So it's great to see two brothers, two Asians on games. I'm obviously from that background, so it's really nice to see officials that I can kind of look up to and relate to getting a chance. They've been in and around the EFL. So Sonny is an assistant referee on the Championship, and Boops is a League One and League Two. He's a level 2A referee. So he's getting a great step up to be a fourth official. So fantastic to see. And again, hopefully more and more opportunities coming. It's nice to see a more diverse range of officials getting opportunities, which is fantastic. And I remember Jarnell. Do you remember him, John, from back in the day? Not really, no?
No, not. I wasn't, to be fair. I think I must have been about 11 or 12. I think Steven Gerrard took up most of my attention back then.
Fair enough. Well, we'll talk about Steven Gerrard, at least his team, shortly in terms of Liverpool. But there were some big incidents, fairly big incidents that happened in the Dortmund Man City game. How much of the Champions League have you guys watched this week? Have you been able to just catch a game? Or I think I've watched all 4 games, which is crazy.
I'm cheap, so I don't pay for BT. So I have to watch the highlights.
You've been watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen all the highlights. So.
Brilliant. And Rimon, which games did you watch this week?
The only one I didn't watch was Chelsea against Porto against Chelsea.
Okay, yeah, they're great games. Like the Bayern
I watched,
Bayern PSG yesterday was incredible. Like you think PSG were going to go and win 5-0, and then Bayern pulled it back to 2-2. They showed the steal, and then Mbappe just does some magic again. So fascinating. But let's go back to Man City Dortmund on Tuesday night. Pretty entertaining game. And there's three incidents that we've highlighted. The first one's a pretty straightforward one in my eyes, but there was a penalty awarded by the referee, the Romanian Hatigan. And I think it was Emre Can. The ball had come in from a free kick or a cross. Emre Can kind of flicked his heel at the ball, as I think João Cancelo was kind of lowered his head to give a header. And instantly, the way
it was Rodri, right?
Say that again? Was it Rodri? Rodri, sorry, yeah, you're correct. So what was interesting was when I watched it, I thought Emre Can had kicked the head of Rodri. And I assume that's probably what the referee had seen and gave a penalty. But John, do you want to talk us through the next stages of what happened?
Yeah, the referee was then sort of informed that that might not be the case, but Emre Can got booked or caution during that thing, but I'm 90% sure he got booked for dissent.
Yeah.
To the referee, or dissent by word of action. So then the referee went over to the VAR, had a look, decided it wasn't a penalty, and then restarted correctly.
Yeah. With a drop ball in the box.
Yeah, to the keeper. But yeah, I know there was a lot of things about the commentator saying, why isn't Chan's yellow card rescinded? And because it doesn't matter, he was booked for dissent. So regardless if he thinks the referee is right or wrong, he's still been booked for his actions, not for the foul.
Yeah, the yellow card may have been rescinded if it was for a reckless challenge, and the video said it wasn't reckless. But yeah, because it was dissent, he had nowhere to go. Rimon, did you think it was a penalty, or you were quite happy with the overturn?
Well, first time, as you said, the first time you saw, you thought it was a penalty, kicked him in the face. The funny thing is how many times the Romanian referee had to look at the video, the VAR, like he was standing there for a long time. Probably he was maybe seeing if there was, but yeah, I mean, it went so quickly, and he took the penalty. But you could see when he wasn't watching the video, he had to, like, I don't know, 1 minute or something. That's a long time to watch the video. So yeah, but definitely not a penalty. I think the yellow card is totally fine. He complained a lot. He should just have waited and for the VAR to give a decision. So yeah.
Great. So pretty happy with the overturn there. I could see how the decision was given in the first place, but on further viewing, it wasn't. Then it came into a much more controversial decision where the ball was played back to Ederson. It was bouncing. He goes to kick it, but Jude Bellingham has made a play on the ball. He's won the ball. From what I've seen, there is some contact between the goalkeeper and Jude Bellingham. But then the ball is about to be kicked into the net and the whistle goes. So this is a really interesting one because at first glance, I thought maybe there is a foul here because it looks like maybe Jude Bellingham has like clipped Ederson as he's gone to get the ball. But again, that was mistaken because Jude Bellingham won the ball cleanly and the contact was actually given by Ederson. So, John, what are your thoughts on this one?
So before we go into what I think of the challenge, I think the referee's done the right thing. If he thinks it's a foul, he's blown before the ball's hit the back of the net. You know, we had all this about, is it Lee Mason a month ago, about like the ball hitting the back of the net and all that message. Like, he's done the right thing. He thinks there's a foul, so he's blown before it's hit the back of the net. So everyone knows that he's aware. In terms of the foul, I don't think it's a foul. I think you said that your initial reaction, you thought there might be a foul. My initial reaction was, oh my God, Ederson's had an absolute Western here. And I think Jude Bellingham will be pretty put out. But you can, it's quick. The ball is high, his leg is high. And like you say, Ederson does go down quickly. But I think Ederson makes the contact on him. I think I don't think it's a foul. I think it should have been a goal.
Rimon?
Well, I have to disagree a bit with John there, because if we go a bit back, I think the referee was about the penalty he gave. When I looked at him, I saw he was just not himself, and he should have kept the play going. He should have kept the ball. He shouldn't have whistled, so the VAR could review if there was a foul or not. I personally don't think that there was a foul. I think his leg was high, yeah, but I mean, he was faster than Ederson, and he just came a bit late, Ederson, and I definitely think the referee shouldn't whistle. Should be a goal. I think there was a mistake from the referee.
And it's good to get some disagreement, because that has been the thing that a lot of people have been talking about. Is I watched it back this morning, and the whistle blew as Jude Bellingham was on the 6-yard box, literally about to tap the ball in. So there is, I can see both sides, John. I agree with you that, you know, he thinks it's a foul, blow the whistle, give a foul. But in this unique scenario, there is a goal about to be scored. I have VAR. Maybe I can give myself a room to maneuver if I allow that to happen and then blow the whistle. So very unique situation. Probably one we're never going to see again. Who knows? But it is an interesting one. It kind of showed the flaw in the process around VAR, right? Because it was so close to the goal being scored. There was no other, you know, it would have been great if VAR could have got involved in that, but the process says no. Interestingly, do you think it was a foul by Ederson on Bellingham? Could VAR have said, actually, we think this is a red card for Dogzo because Ederson has kicked Bellingham in the process? That could have been a way VAR could have got involved. I don't know. There's not enough contact, because obviously Bellingham stayed up. And
yeah, I think if Bellingham goes down, I think, you know, you're probably asking some serious questions of, like, the referees are asking himself some serious questions like, what am I doing here? As in, like, red card or...
Yeah.
But Jude Bellingham, like, fair play to the player. Credit where credit's due. He stayed on his feet. He worked hard for the ball, you know, and yeah, he got his potential reward, or would have got his reward.
Yeah.
He probably thought the referee will not whistle. That's why he didn't go down. I mean, you know, in another situation, he probably have gone down, and there was like, a red card probably.
It would have been interesting, because obviously the referee thought it was a foul by Bellingham. And imagine if he did go down, then VAR would have got involved and maybe have changed a yellow card and defensive free kick to a red card or an attacking free kick. But that's the great thing about reviewing games. We can make up scenarios as we go along.
Yeah.
The biggest talking point happened after the final whistle, and it was highlighted by a few different journalists and even on BT Sport, where after the game in the tunnel, the Romanian assistant referee stopped Erling Haaland and asked him for an autograph. Now the story has developed a bit since then, but we asked a few people on Twitter, you know, what were their thoughts? And by and large, there was a real mixed reaction. Most people said it's a complete no-no. We shouldn't be asking players for autographs. Some people said, well, it's after the game. The game's finished. It was a losing team. It wasn't showing any bias because, you know, the team lost. So, and some people just said, actually, there's nothing wrong with it, but maybe do it a little bit out of the television kind of line. And I think the one thing to note and remember is this is a kind of a COVID secure stadium, right? So I would assume that the referees are probably not getting changed in the same area. Then they're definitely not socializing afterwards. So this may have been the only time he could have gone and asked for it. Now, the assumption was that the referee wanted it, or the assistant referee wanted his signature for himself or his kids, etc. So let's go with that premise for now. John, you kind of looked funny when I said, oh, referees or assistant referees shouldn't do it. So talk me through, do you think it was a wrong thing to do or not?
I think it's absolutely fine. I think, you know, players swap shirts all the time, and no one ever bats an eyelid about it. And you think referees are part of the game as well. And in my opinion, like I've always said that if I ever reach a level where I'm good enough to referee, even on the Football League, that my first thing to do is when the captains come in, I'm going to ask them to sign a program. Yeah. Because for me, that's, you know, it's just as much my day as it is theirs. I know that sounds like, you know, the John Wilkes show, but it is a memorable thing, isn't it? Like these referees are refereeing the greatest players in the world on the greatest competition in the world. Like, why not give them something to remember?
Yeah.
Why not? You know, even if it was for his kid, who's an Mbappe fan, like let it happen. I feel sorry for him because he's tried to do it in the tunnel, but obviously there are so many cameras at a Champions League game, you can't get away with it. So, you know, potentially try and arrange it before the game, during the warm-up, say, look, afterwards, you mind just popping in and signing something for us? But yeah, these guys have worked hard to get where they are. Why not give them something to remember, in my opinion?
No, great. Rimon, I'm intrigued to know if you're going to go with the complete opposite, or are you going to agree with John here?
Well, I'm not agreeing with John. No, but my personal feeling is like he shouldn't have done it in front of the TV. He could maybe have told Holland to maybe he could come by and give him an autograph for his kid. Let's hope it's for his kid or for his friend or whatever. It doesn't feel right when a referee goes and asks a football player for his autograph, you know. And if he wanted something to remember it by, he could just watch the game again and see himself standing on the line on the side, you know, and refereeing the game. He could have that video going through a loop or something, and he could just watch that every single day. So my personal feeling is that he shouldn't have done it in front of TV. He could have done it in another way. It could even be for a bet or something, like I can bet that I can get Holland's autograph, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be a negative thing to do in front of the TV. This is my personal feeling about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So I think it showcases just how much the media and people, the perception of referees needs to be kind of white as white in terms of like no bias being shown or anything like that. So as soon as you do something out of the norm, you enable someone to take a different view of what was actually intended, right? So in this scenario, if that was in the street and it was still the assistant referee, no one would care, right? But because it's in the tunnel after a Champions League game, it's a potential story. And it's only a potential story because there was a camera there and someone's been able to talk about it and showcase it. So that's number one. What came out afterwards, and this was from a Sky Sports presenter, Paul Gilmore, he tweeted that he'd spoken to the Romanian FA and that, so the assistant referee's name is Octavian Sova. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he asked for the autograph to help raise funds for an autism center that he helps with. So now we have a little bit more context. And I'm pretty confident that everyone who said, oh, that's not the right thing to do, maybe now thinks differently. And they say, okay, great, that makes sense. The problem here is still that no one had that context before. And a lot of people will still go away thinking, oh, the assistant referee did something wrong and won't have heard that follow-up story to it, right? So I still think the advice to officials would be, or should be, no problem doing it. Maybe do it in the private area where no one's going to see it, because obviously it can lead to a story, even though and you don't have control of the narrative once it leaves whatever you've done, right? And that goes for anything. That goes for talking to, you know, overtly laughing and talking to one captain in the warm-up loads and not talking to the other one. As soon as that gets recorded in some way, there is a perception all of a sudden that you have no control over the narrative. So that's key. But I think it was cool. I thought it was humanizing, the fact that, you know, even though those three have refereed loads and loads of games, they've been involved in lots of Champions Leagues. That team were involved in 6. They were the first team to do 6 games in a row in the match day in the group stages. they've seen all these players, and fair play that he's looking to raise money in. There is no hotter property than Erling Haaland at the moment, so I'm sure his autograph will raise good money. So, but it shows how important perception is. So that's.
But I don't remember. Was it on a piece of paper he got the autograph, or was it?
I really hope he had like the sports trading card with Erling Haaland on it, because that would have made a.
Oh no, it was on the red and yellow card, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it was either a red and yellow card or it was in his notebook. I'm not sure. So, very, very, very cool. Who knows? We'll see. The last thing to talk about, and just because we want to pour some more misery on John's existence, is Liverpool went away to Real Madrid and was on the wrong end of a 3-1 scoreline. And after the game, Jurgen Klopp had said, that there was some personal, Felix Bruck, Dr. Felix Bruck was the German referee in charge. And I don't know if Klopp was deflecting here, but he said there was some it felt like the referee's relationship with Mane on the field in terms of the fouls given or not given was personal. I think that was probably deflecting, but there was one major incident that I think caused uproar. And it was when Mane was through on goal and there was a coming together with a Real Madrid player. I can't remember exactly who it was. I feel
it's
like
Lucas Vazquez.
Lucas Vazquez.
Not because I'm bitter or anything, but it was Lucas Vazquez. Yeah.
So talk me through, like, do you think this was a foul?
Yeah, send them on.
You think it was a foul?
No. So I think it's a tough one because the ball's so high.
Yeah.
It almost bounces at Courtois' feet. But Vazquez hasn't looked at the ball, in my opinion. He's checked Mane. And I think the only thing that's saving Vazquez is that the ball has gone so far over that you could easily go, well, Mane's not getting there. Like, I've done it before in Sunday League or Saturday League. Like, the guys are like, oh, he's pushed me in the back. And I was like, the ball's got 9 feet over your head. Like, it doesn't matter if he's pushed you in the back. The only thing he could have done is pushed you up to get the ball. Like, the ball's not in play. Okay. I don't know. There's going to be that argument, but it's still a foul. But I don't think the ball is active for it to be a foul. So yeah, I think send them off.
So I kind of disagree with that. I think a foul's a foul if it happens. I mean, it completely gets rid of Dogzo out of the question. It will just become a yellow card. But to me, it was an interesting one. I thought it was a foul. But Rimon, do you as well?
Yeah, I mean, you could see on his body language, he wasn't looking at the ball. He was just going straight for Mane. So honestly, I tried. Have looked at the video again and again, and I cannot find any reason for why there's no foul there. I mean,
so maybe Klopp had a point, but I don't know. Felix Bruck is one of the best referees in the world as well, so probably just missed this one. He was quite far away because it was a long clearance, right? So that doesn't help. But maybe some more comms with the assistant. But again, probably from the camera angle we've seen is the opposite to what the assistant would have seen. So probably no one's been able to see it. The reason VAR hasn't come into play is because it's not a dog, so definitely not. So interesting. But John, do you think they're going to come back in the second leg?
I'm really hoping so. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
I disagree. Okay, that's fine.
Rimon and John, this relationship is great. Like, you guys disagreeing is perfect. I'm sure the listeners are happy with that. I did not expect Real Madrid to beat Liverpool 3-1. I don't see any way back, but I'm fascinated. But at Anfield, who knows? Everything can happen, and I'm really excited to see Haaland again. Hopefully, the other assistants will get his signature or his autograph too. For those who are listening, thank you so much for being part of our community and listening around. Definitely feel free to share the podcast with your refereeing colleagues. And we'll be back next week with some more commentary or news from the refereeing world. So thank you very much.